I realized something was seriously off the second I glanced at my phone and spotted 153 missed calls from Lauren lighting up the screen. It was 4:23 a.m., and there I was, parked in my truck by a deserted construction site on the outskirts of town, the engine still ticking warm from the night's drive. My hands wouldn't stop trembling, not because I was scared or feeling guilty, but from the pure adrenaline pumping through me after what I'd just witnessed. Hunter, the jerk my wife was messing around with, had just been hauled out of what used to be his car by rescue crews, his bright red Dodge Charger now smashed flat under a bulldozer in the middle of nowhere, no roads or signs around, just dust, dirt, and a long stretch of tire marks pointing right to the wreck. One thing hit me hard, that mess wasn't some random fluke. Let me backtrack a bit. 2 days earlier, I was just your average dude, maybe a little dull, I'll admit. I'm Ethan Parker, 34, working as an IT manager, owning a house, married for 5 years, thinking life was pretty okay, quiet, predictable, but stable enough. Then Lauren dropped a bombshell on me. She didn't just want to shake things up, she told me to sell our house, not because we were broke or anything, but so she could move her new boyfriend in. Yeah, you heard me right. She stared me straight in the face and said, "You've got 7 days, Ethan. Hunter's moving in by next weekend." I should have flipped out right there, but instead, I grinned and let slip the stupidest, most reckless thing I've ever said, "Go ahead and try, I dare you to see what happens." She didn't catch how dead serious I was. So that night, when I rolled up and saw moving boxes stacked on the porch, my clothes stuffed in trash bags, and Hunter kicking back with a beer in my kitchen, I didn't yell or break down. I kept my mouth shut, turned around, and walked out, already piecing things together in my head. Now Hunter's either laid up in the hospital or zipped in a body bag, I'm not sure yet, but one thing's crystal clear, Lauren's little dream just crashed into a horror show, and we're only at the beginning. Let me rewind a touch more. After I left the house that night, Hunter smirking like a jackass in my doorway, Lauren acting like she'd hit the jackpot in some imaginary divorce, I didn't crash at a buddy's place or check into a motel. I drove my truck 3 blocks down, cut the lights, and sat there watching. I had to figure out what I was up against, and if I was gonna torch my whole life, I needed to know exactly who'd be caught in the flames with me. That's when I caught the first hint something was up. Lauren stepped outside, phone glued to her ear, pacing around, keeping her voice low, glancing up and down the street. She wasn't chatting with her mom or ordering pizza, she was talking to someone she didn't want overheard. Then she screwed up big time. She leaned down to peek in the mailbox, and when she straightened up, a second phone, a cheap burner, slid out of her back pocket. She snatched it up quick, darted her eyes around like a kid caught sneaking candy, then jammed it back into her waistband and bolted inside. That was my first solid lead. She had a secret phone stashed away, and it sure wasn't for playing games or clipping coupons. Lauren could barely figure out how to reboot the router. That burner was tied to Hunter, or maybe someone else, could be a whole crew for all I knew. This wasn't just about her cheating anymore, there was something bigger brewing. So I made up my mind, no shouting matches, no slugging it out with Hunter, I'd play it cool, sharp, and risky. The next day, I swung by the house while they were out. I still had my key, Lauren hadn't bothered swapping the locks yet, which was classic her, all bark, no bite. The place already felt alien. She'd shuffled everything around, my framed photos were yanked off the walls, my books tossed in a box marked, garage sale. Even the coffee mugs were swapped out, hers now screamed, boss babe, in tacky letters. But the real gut punch. She kept our bed, the one we'd shared. I poked around every corner, rifled through drawers, hunting for that burner phone. Just when I was ready to call it quits, I struck gold. It was stashed inside a hollowed-out book titled Self-Love for Modern Women, talk about keeping it real classy. That burner phone didn't even have a lock on it, what a rookie move. I swiped through the messages and found chats not just with Hunter, but with 2 other dudes. One of them had her saved as Jade from yoga. The texts were loaded with dirty pics, voice clips, sweet-talking promises she never once whispered to me in 5 years of marriage, plus dates and plans for meetups at spots she'd sworn were girls' nights or late work shifts. Every excuse she'd fed me, every time she'd brushed me off with a "you're just paranoid, Mason," was right there in black and white. That's when the fury really kicked in, not just because she'd been lying, but because she'd played me for a chump for months and acted so smug about it. I snapped pics of every single message, sent them to my email, and slid the burner back into its hiding spot like nothing happened. I wasn't ready for her to know I was onto her, not yet, because this wasn't just about being mad anymore, I was stacking up evidence. I slipped out of the house the same way I'd come in, quiet, calm, and laser-focused. That night, Lauren hit me up with her first text since our big blowout. She wrote, "Hey, if you're still throwing a tantrum, that's your problem, but Hunter and I aren't going anywhere, so get your act together." Get my act together. She had no clue I was already miles ahead of her. She didn't know about the screenshots, the divorce lawyer buddy I'd called, or the GPS tracker I'd slapped under Hunter's shiny Dodge. She was tossing checkers pieces around, I was rigging the chessboard to blow. I gave it 2 more days before I made my next play. By then, I'd already sat down with a divorce attorney, frozen my credit cards, and moved half our joint savings into a new account just for me, all while Lauren was busy posting sappy Instagram stories of her and Hunter sipping wine in my living room. She figured I was some pathetic wreck moping in a cheap motel. Truth is, I was mapping out every move like a hunter in the blind, silent, steady, and dead-on precise. Even so, I never saw her next words coming when I rolled up that night. It was 8:14 p.m. when I hit the doorbell like some stranger, even though the house was still mine by law. Hunter opened the door wearing a bathrobe, seriously, a freaking bathrobe. This clown was strutting through my life like it was some viral stunt. "Hey, loser," he said with a smirk. "You here to snag your Star Wars socks or what? Where's Lauren?" I shot back. "She's in the kitchen, but if you're gonna bawl again, maybe keep it outside this time." I shoved past him mid-sentence. He didn't block me, not out of respect, but because he didn't see me as anything to worry about. He'd figure out how wrong he was soon enough. I found her at the kitchen island, munching on avocado toast like she was auditioning for some wellness blog, SZA humming through a Bluetooth speaker, hair pulled back, rocking one of my old tees she'd hacked into a crop top like a low-budget craft fail. She glanced up, cool as ice. "Oh, Mason. Figured you'd gone radio silent on us." "I know about the burner phone," I said, cutting straight to it, no small talk, just heat. Her face twitched, just a flicker, but it told me everything. "Oh, that?" She actually grinned. "Yeah, I thought you might stumble across it eventually. Kept it handy in case you flipped out. Looks like I nailed that call." I whipped out my phone and tapped the screen. "I've got every text, every pic, every lie saved. So go ahead, tell me Hunter's your soulmate one more time." Lauren just rolled her eyes like I was the one overreacting. "Geez, Mason, you're such a stalker. No wonder I had to branch out, you choke the life out of people." That jab, that one little dig, flipped a switch in me. I wasn't mad or stunned anymore, I was finished. "You were hooking up with 3 different guys while swearing you were at Pilates," I said, voice like steel. "Don't you dare pin this on me." She got up and stepped closer, dropping her tone like she still owned the room. "Look, if you want an easy out, take it. Sign your papers, sob in your truck. But Hunter and I are staying put. I've already got a realtor lined up, the house hits the market next month. You'll get your cut, so relax." I couldn't wrap my head around her nerve. Lauren didn't just step out on me, she straight up swapped me out of my own existence, and now she was trying to shove me a check like I was some short-term tenant she'd grown tired of. Then, to top it all off, she leaned in close, flashed a grin, and said, "Oh, and by the way, you never really lit my fire. Hunter. He's got me screaming without even laying a finger on me." That was the breaking point. I didn't yell or smash anything, I just gave her a little smile and murmured, "You think this is done, huh?" I spun on my heel, walked out of the kitchen, and breezed past Hunter without so much as a sideways look. I could feel their stares burning into my back as I stepped into the cool night air, but they didn't trail after me. They had no clue what I was gearing up to unleash, and that's what made it so sweet. From that moment, I quit playing the victim. It was their turn to feel tiny, worthless, and helpless, just like they'd done to me. Here's the thing about getting stabbed in the back, it doesn't shatter you if you channel it right. It forges a tougher, nastier, icier version of yourself. The guy Lauren tied the knot with? He was gone the second she let her fling waltz into my home. The dude who took his place. He was here to dismantle her world from the core. I didn't catch a wink of sleep that night, not because I was nursing a broken heart, but because I was buzzing with plans. There's a thrill in knowing every dirty detail while the other side thinks they've got the upper hand. Lauren and Hunter figured I was wallowing in misery while they clinked glasses in my kitchen. Meanwhile, I was rigging an explosion. First move was a no-brainer. I've got a buddy, Luke, a private investigator with a military background, who owed me big time, so I cashed in. I told him, track their every step, where they're headed, who they're seeing. Dig up their phone records too. I need to know if she's still messing around, and I want hard evidence, every last scrap. Luke didn't even flinch. 3 days, tops, he said. While he got rolling, I jumped to the next play. I reached out to the HOA, sounds lame, right? But when you work it right, it's a weapon. I filed a complaint against my own house, claiming unauthorized subleasing since Lauren let Hunter shack up without my okay as co-owner. Boom, HOA rules broken. That's strike one. Next up were the utilities. Every bill, power, gas, water, trash, was under my name, so I started flipping switches. Not all at once, that'd be too generous. I kicked it off with the Wi-Fi, then killed the trash service, and finally cut the heat. It was winter, let them shiver. 3 days in, Lauren fired off a text, "Why's the internet gone?" I shot back, guess the guy footing the bills walked out. Have fun playing power couple. She went radio silent, but I knew the pressure was building. Hunter wasn't cut out for roughing it, he was all about quick flings and free brews, not handling a cold house and a girlfriend glued to her phone instead of him. Luke dropped a goldmine in my inbox the next morning, GPS trails, snapshots, even audio clips. Turns out Hunter had a side chick of his own, blonde, barely out of her teens, gym hookup. He'd been slipping out midday while Lauren plugged away at her work-from-home gig. How's that for karma? And the kicker? Lauren was still texting her other 2 guys, keeping her little side hustle alive even with Hunter crashing there. One dude Venmo'd her $400 for groceries, after she fed him a sob story about me tossing her out. Another left her a 1:12 a.m. voice memo, cooing, "You're the best thing I've ever had." She was juggling them all like a pro, until I started rigging the game. Now I was holding all the cards, proof of her affairs, HOA violations, Hunter's double-dipping, and her scams on multiple guys for cash. I had screenshots, tracking data, even a recording of her laughing about me, calling me the fallback if Hunter didn't pan out. Oh yeah, and then there was step 3, I got a real estate pal to ring her up out of the blue, offering a fat cash deal for the house, way over market value, but only if both of us signed off. She swallowed the bait whole, texting me that night like I was still her loyal little errand boy. "Lauren, hey, maybe we don't have to keep clawing at each other. We could both cash out big." I left her hanging, didn't type a word back. She was scrambling, and she didn't even know the real chaos was just warming up. By the time the week wrapped, the house was a damn battlefield, not because I stormed in swinging, nah, I didn't even set foot near it. I just let the tension fester inside, let them rip each other apart while I tugged the puppet strings from miles away. And man, did they turn on each other quick. Luke's final update landed in my inbox like a Christmas present with a bow, audio of Hunter flipping his lid at Lauren. That smug jackass who'd been strutting around in robes, sipping my whiskey like he was at a resort. He lost it. I didn't sign up for this crap, Maddie. You swore that chump was history, and now you're texting other guys. Who's this Josh dude? Lauren, cool as ice when she's running the show, snapped back with pure poison. Don't you dare lecture me about lies. You've been slinking off to hook up with that CrossFit chick and waltzing back reeking of dollar store perfume. That was the golden ticket. I forwarded the audio to myself, trimmed it down, and stashed it for the courtroom showdown. Then I slipped it anonymously to one of Lauren's sweet-talking sidekicks, the one who'd shelled out $400 for her groceries. He turned into a one-man detective agency, blowing up her phone, threatening to spill the whole mess. He demanded his cash back, said he'd send her texts to her folks, even warned he'd show up at the house. And guess what? He did. Luke's GPS pinged me at 11:47 p.m., some guy was hammering on the front door, hollering loud enough to wake the dead. Neighbors dialed security, cops rolled in, and me. I was kicking back in my hotel suite, sipping bourbon, watching the circus unfold like it was pay-per-view. Come morning, Lauren's Instagram went black. Luke said her phone stayed off for a solid 12 hours, she'd gone underground. The flames were licking through the walls now, but I wasn't ready to call it quits. Monday rolled around, and I strolled into the courthouse with a stack of ammo, the burner phone dirt, GPS trails, audio gold, HOA breaches, and proof she'd siphoned our joint account to pamper her boy toy. My lawyer grinned like he was binge-watching a drama series. You're coming out of this spotless, he said. If she pushes back, we'll crush her. That night, I fired off a text to Lauren, short, icy, and done. Me, divorce is filed. Evidence is in. Check your email before you try unloading the house again. She didn't hit back, but Hunter did, from some random number. Hunter, you think you're slick, huh? You'll wish you hadn't started this. I just tapped out, I already wish I never shook your slimy hand. Turns out Hunter's landlord had booted him from his own place, he trashed his lease when he shacked up with Lauren. And when I killed the utilities at the house again, yanked M4, unpaid transfer fees, he was left with no heat, no water, and zero chill. By Thursday, he'd bailed. Packed his crap, trashed the guest bathroom on his way out, and split. Real gentleman to the bitter end. And Lauren? She finally crawled out of the woodwork. Lauren, Mason, can we just talk? One time, in person. I'm sorry for all of it. No cutesy emojis, no sass, just raw desperation. I didn't bother replying. When someone lobs a bomb into your world and acts surprised when it blows up, you don't toss them a lifeline, you toss them the detonator. It was pouring when she showed up, of course it was, like the sky wanted her to look extra pitiful when she came groveling. Hair soaked, mascara streaking down her face, she stood outside the hotel like some tragic movie heroine, banking on me being dumb enough to play her knight in shining armor again. Nah, I wasn't that guy anymore. I stood at the window, peering down at her for a couple minutes. She was craning her neck, eyes darting across the hotel windows, gripping her phone tight, hoodie pulled up like she could duck from her own mess. She didn't even have shoes on, just soggy slippers. That hit me like a neon sign, this wasn't planned, she was running on fumes, pure desperation. The front desk buzzed my room. She's claiming she's your wife, the receptionist said. Tell her to cool her heels in the lobby. I'll head down when I feel like it. I let her stew there for a solid 20 minutes. Then I strolled downstairs, cool as a breeze, put together, sharper than she'd ever seen me. New jacket hugging my shoulders, face clean shaven, no tired shadows under my eyes. I wanted her to clock how much better I was doing without her weighing me down. She shot to her feet, eyes all watery and wide. Mason, I cut her off with a raised hand. Lobby only. 5 minutes. Say what you've got. Her mouth popped open, but nothing spilled out at first. Then she pulled her classic move, head tilted just so, spinning the tail like she was the one who'd been wronged. I screwed up, she murmured, voice soft. I was lost in a bad spot. You weren't there for me, not really, and I didn't know how to say it. I let out a laugh, couldn't hold it back. You hooked up with 3 different guys and tried to pawn off our house behind my back. That's not a bad spot, Lauren, that's you being a garbage person. Her face crumpled a little. I didn't mean for things with Hunter to blow up like that. He woke something up in me, and it spiraled. I couldn't figure out how to hit the brakes. You didn't want to hit the brakes. She froze for a second. That quiet moment said it all. She knew it, I knew it, and now there she was, trembling under the harsh lobby lights, trying to patch up a life she'd torched herself. I want to make it right, she whispered. I've been thinking, maybe we don't have to torch everything. I could try therapy. You and me, we used to crack up together all the time. You were my best buddy. So why'd you treat me like I was the enemy? I fired back. She blinked hard. I saw the texts, I said, stepping in close, voice dropping low. He's dull. He's weak. I fake it every time. You didn't just stab me in the back, Lauren, you paraded my shame around. You let that jackass strut into my house like he owned the deed, crash in my bed, guzzle my booze. You were sending naked pics to randoms while I was busting my ass to keep our life afloat. Tears started rolling, big, messy ones, probably legit, but I didn't budge. You're not sorry you did it, I told her. You're sorry you got busted. You're sorry your little game fell apart. She reached for my hand, fingers shaky. I pulled back. Do you love me? She croaked, voice breaking. I did. Now I wouldn't know you from a stranger. I turned and walked off. She didn't chase me, didn't yell, didn't plead, just stood there, shoulders quaking, like it finally clicked. She didn't just lose the house or the divorce, she lost the one guy who actually gave a damn, traded him in for cheap kicks and a tool in workout gear. I headed back to my room, shut the door, and cracked a grin. It was finished, but I still had some moves left. The courtroom wasn't some Hollywood scene, no swelling soundtrack, no fireworks, just chilly air, starched suits, and Lauren tapping her fake nails on the bench like she was waiting for a latte. I wasn't there to put on a show for her, though, I was there to shut down her empire. She sauntered in rocking a beige pantsuit, hair all curled up, makeup on point, like she was the wounded hero in this mess. The nerve of that woman, strolling into a courtroom she dragged us both into, still betting she'd come out on top. My lawyer, smooth, steady, all business, kicked things off with the hard truth. No grandstanding, just a surgical strike. Your Honor, we're entering this into evidence, a hidden second phone used to juggle affairs with not one, but 3 separate men over 6 months. Plus, we've got audio recordings, legally obtained through a third-party investigator, laying bare more lies and money-grubbing schemes by the respondent. Lauren's lawyer tried to jump in, yammering about privacy and hurt feelings. Didn't fly. The judge brushed him off like he was swatting a gnat, then the photos dropped, snapshots of her texts with Hunter and those other 2 clowns, where she cackled about squeezing Mason dry before ditching him once the house sells. Yeah, she put that in writing, bold as hell. I watched her smug grin fade to a sickly gray right there in the courtroom. And then my lawyer played his ace. The HOA violations, Your Honor. This paper right here proves the respondent illegally parked another person in the shared house without the co-owner's written okay, straight up breaking the contract we both signed when we bought the place. Is that individual here today? The judge piped up, Hunter. Back in the shadows of the room, Hunter tried to shrink into nothing, but he raised a shaky hand like a kid caught cheating on a test. Come up here, the judge ordered. He dragged himself forward, looking like he was marching to the gallows, sweat beading on his brow. He shot Lauren a glance, begging for a lifeline. She didn't even flick her eyes his way. "Mr. Hunter Daniels, correct?" the judge asked. "You living at the property in question?" Hunter mumbled, Yeah, I was. Not anymore, though. Were you ever paying rent or signed on to any legal deal to stay there?" "No, sir." That sealed it. The judge was done messing around. Given the mountain of proof, financial scheming, cheating, and an unauthorized squatter in the marital home, I'm ruling for Mr. Carter. He gets full ownership of the house. The respondent has 7 days to clear out, and she's cut off from alimony or any cash support due to blatant misconduct. Bam. No yelling, no drama, just the sound of Lauren's whole world collapsing in her chest. She tried to claw something back, anything. "Your Honor, I messed up, sure, but I was drowning in emotional stress and," the judge shut her down with a flick of his hand. "We're done here." I didn't even spare her a look as I headed out. Hunter didn't trail after her, he just slumped in the back row, head bowed, like someone finally yanked the blindfold off his fantasy. Outside, Lauren caught me, her voice all raspy and raw. "Mason, please, I've got nowhere to crash." I kept my stride steady. "I thought I had more time," she said, snagging my arm. "I didn't think you'd really." I spun around, locked eyes with her, and let it rip. "That's your whole deal, Lauren. You never thought. You just took." Then I slid into my car, slammed the door, rolled the windows down, and peeled out with calm humming in my ears. She wanted to play, I flipped the board. It's been 3 months since the courtroom put the final nail in Lauren's coffin, 3 months since I stepped back into my house solo and felt the weight lift. That first time crossing the threshold after the ruling, it was like wandering into a stranger's story. The air had a new bite to it. The quiet wasn't suffocating anymore, it was crisp, peaceful, the kind that doesn't carry the stink of backstabbing. Her traces were still scattered around, lip gloss smudged on the bathroom mirror, that tacky fake plant she swore warmed up the kitchen, an old hoodie of mine she'd hacked up and claimed as hers. I scooped it all into trash bags and dumped them on the curb without a second thought. She swung by one time. I didn't open the door for her. She lingered on the sidewalk, looking like she was hoping time would spin backward, eyes puffy and red, hair a knotted mess. Gone was the polished Instagram queen, this was her stripped down, unfiltered, but that kind of real was way too late. I nudged the door open just enough for her to catch my face. She didn't pull any of her old games this round. "I'm not looking for a fight," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "Glad to hear it," I shot back. Her gaze dropped to the porch steps. I needed to tell you I'm sorry. For all of it. You didn't have that coming, not a single bit." I stayed quiet. She pressed on. "I thought I was chasing some thrill, like I was short on something big. Turns out I was just dodging what it means to be a halfway decent person. You handed me the world, and I stomped all over it." She lifted her eyes. "Bet you hate me now." I gave a slow shake of my head. A tiny spark flared in her expression, like she thought maybe there was still a sliver of hope. "Hate's not it," I said. "I just don't feel a damn thing anymore. And that cuts deeper." I clicked the door shut. That was the last glimpse I got of her. These days, I hit the gym every morning. I whip up a solid breakfast, not just cereal from a box. I take long strolls at dusk just for the hell of it, and I'm sleeping sounder than I have in ages. Even started chatting with someone new, Ella's her name. Ran into her at a coffee joint. She didn't grill me about my job, she asked what gets me going. First time in years I wasn't just a paycheck or a fallback plan. Her laugh was real, she locked eyes when I talked, and she didn't sneak a peek at her phone once. I'm keeping it chill, no rush, no big bets, but for once, I feel like a guy who matters, not some extra in someone else's dream world. Looking back, I can pinpoint where I screwed up. I let too much slide. I chalked up her disrespect to bad days. I labeled her self-centered streak as independence. I ignored the warning signs because I didn't want to be that husband, the jumpy one, the guy who overthinks everything. But I've got it clear now, real love doesn't leave you second-guessing your worth. So here's my 2 cents for anyone stuck where I was: if they start acting like you're disposable, let them find out how that plays out. Don't grovel, don't haggle, don't crack, just step out of their plotline and start scribbling your own. Lauren figured she could torch our life and still cherry-pick the good stuff. She found out the rough way: you don't get to set the bridge ablaze and still waltz across it later. Now I'm unshackled.